Forge Quintus, Killian. Ah, hell, did Weaver die? The group of recruits slowed to a halt and looked at Dio Hardigan, unsure if this was some kind of test. We were 8 kilometres into a 16-kilometre run, a standard way to spend a Saturday afternoon in the hottest season on MacArthur. At least it was in Hardigan's forge. As a civilian outsider, I had been offered, and declined, a personal HOV. It had been a running joke between Hardigan and me, but after 5 months living with these recruits, of hearing not only their histories, but also their plans for the future, I'd decided that I wasn't going to be an outsider. That was 3 months ago, and I'll admit, today I was kinda regretting it. From the look on Hardigan's face, this wasn't a test. We all turned back to see recruit Callum Weaver face down in the dirt. A scrawny kid raised in Plantock River on Aramis, Weaver always struggled with the intensely physical requirements in basic training. I keep hoping that there'll be a point where I push through, Weaver confided in me one day after 3 hours of vigorous combat drilling. And yeah, while it gets a little easier each time, it never feels like my body gets used to it. Recruit Tegan was the first to react. She rushed over and pulled off the heavy pack loaded with field supplies so Weaver could roll over. A few other members of the squad came to help, while the others took full advantage of the break and slumped to the ground in the shade. Dio Hardigan walked over, barely winded, and blocked the sun while he looked down at Weaver. After a few moments, he started to come around. "Sorry, sir," Weaver mumbled as he tried to sit up. "Whoa there." Hardigan dropped to a knee and stopped Weaver from getting up. "Got a medvac coming up. You gotta learn how to hydrate, kid." "Sorry, sir. I will, sir." Hardigan shook his head and after tossing Weaver a hydrogel pack, told Tegan and the other recruits who had helped to see that Weaver got back. He then turned to the rest of the squad. "Well, since you all didn't feel like helping your squad mate, looks like we gotta start the full 16 again." The recruits were considerably more unified after that day. That sense of unity would only strengthen as they entered the phase of their training known as CANDIDACY, 3 weeks of testing, designed to not only assess each recruit's physical, psychological and intellectual aptitude, but how well they've incorporated the past 8 months of training into action. After CANDIDACY ended, it was another week before the recruits would be divided and sent to the next phase of their training. Out of the 16 recruits, most continued on to enlisted training. 4 were transferred to specialised facilities the next week. Recruit Tegan disappeared halfway through and, if Hardigan was to be believed, had been headhunted by the Marines. Recruit Weaver and the 3 others had been approved to begin flight academy training. On the first morning of flight school, Hardigan jogged the lucky few to a lonely stretch of tarmac where, sitting against the morning sun, was an F-7 Hornet and their new DO, Lieutenant Edward Ino. "This is what you've got, Hardigan?" The stout man in his 80s dropped onto the deck as he looked over the recruits. "Afraid so," Hardigan replied. "These look weaker than the last bunch." "Then break 'em," Hardigan said with a shrug. Ino nodded, then fired a salute to Hardigan, who returned it and then started the jog back. Ino stepped closer to the recruits in silence. He studied each one for an uncomfortably long amount of time, possibly to see if they would react. They did not. Over the next few minutes, more recruits showed up, dropped off by the DOs like the first day of school. Ino repeated the procedure with each new addition. Once the class was filled, he turned to the Hornet. "Take a good look," Ino said as he paced alongside the fighter, his eyes fixated on the pristine machine. "For some of you, this will be the closest you ever get to one of these. Until now, we've just been playing." Some of the recruits exchanged weary glances. "But this is an instrument of war, capable of raining destruction the likes of which you have not seen. So if you think I'm going to let any of you anywhere near this, you are out of your mind. You will need to earn my trust and respect before I hand you a weapon. Here?" "Sir, yes sir," the recruits shouted in perfect unison. "We'll see." Ino wasn't kidding. 10 hours a day, 6 days a week for the next 2 months, he had them poring over technical manuals, historical accounts, strategic and tactical analysis of military actions, including rigorous study of Marduk's elements of warfare. The heaviest focus was on flight theory, and he would surprise them with tests about everything, even piloting fundamentals, despite the fact that many had been flying spacecraft for years. After a particularly grueling session that ended with Aino recommending that one of the recruits be transferred out of academy, I asked him why. "The type of flying they're used to won't prepare them for what's out there," he replied. "We ask the impossible day in and day out. When you've lost your entire squadron and Vanduul are bearing down, we need you to be able to make competent tactical decisions. If you can't cut it in a classroom, you won't last a day on the drift." As the summer heat began to break towards autumn, the remaining recruits moved on to Aino's next level of training. Bolstering their confidence by proclaiming that he was ready to see what they could do in a cockpit, he led the recruits to a distant hangar. When they arrived, there was a palpable excitement in the air. All that intense study would finally be put to use. Aino pulled the massive doors open. Facsimiles built out of discarded pipes to resemble the frame of a cockpit were spaced evenly throughout the hangar. Plastic chairs doubled as operator seats. The flight stick? A tube taped to a spring. The recruits were less than enthused. "What the hell you waiting for? Pick a ship," Aino yelled. Thus began Phase 2 of their training. Aino ran them through basic cockpit layout. He forced them to meticulously reconstruct the placement of every button and switch for a variety of ships that they might be expected to fly. Once complete, he would exhaustively test each and every one of them on the function and conventional or unconventional applications of the ship. He'd put recruits on the spot and call out scenarios, then time their response. The phrase, "too slow, you're dead," was repeated thousands of times. Within the month, another 2 recruits had been reassigned to different forges, but Weaver, it seemed, had found something to excel at. He displayed a photographic memory when it came to the layout of the various cockpits, easily switching between the configurations of Gladius, Hornet, and even Starfarer layouts without needing to consult the specs. Aino certainly noticed. Away from the recruits, Aino was a quiet, considerate man. A veteran of over 500 missions, he'd seen his fair share of combat, but it was impossible to get him to elaborate more than that. While having Sujin tea with him during our weekly talk, I asked him about Weaver's aptitude. Surprisingly, he went into detail. "Sometimes it just clicks. Not for me. My Dio would scream herself hoarse yelling at me to get it right." He settled back and sipped on his coffee. "We're still a long way away and he's got a lot more learning to do. I mean, I've seen people pick it up quick when there ain't nothing on the line, only to lose it the second they're in their first scrap. But we'll see. Maybe he's earned a treat." "Like what?" I asked. Aino turned and looked out the window for a minute. I almost thought he'd forgotten the question. He then turned back and smiled. Recruit Weaver was going to be the first to go up in an actual test flight.
You should get yourself some NordVPN. You can go to nordvpn.com/BoredGamer or use the links down below. If you want a VPN to help you with accessibility, security, and or privacy on the internet, then NordVPN has got all of that. And it's on a huge discount if you use my links. Oh, click those links. Every month we have a Star Citizenship giveaway. For November, we are giving away the latest in pristine technology, the Grey's Market Shiv, a heavy fighter with a bucket of weaponry, and the first compound ship in game. It is made up of a cutlass and a load of other ships stuck together. It comes with lifetime insurance and a game package, all you need to play Star Citizen. But we're also bundling in a CitizenCon digital goodies pack, just loads of FPS items and stuff that you can put around your hangar and your base eventually. Just comment on any of our videos during the month to be in for a chance of winning that. Also, a big thank you to CIG for providing that prize. If you would like to further support the channel by clicking the join button under our videos and becoming a channel member or becoming a Patreon, then please do. It helps out a ton and enables us to make daily Star Citizen content, even when the YouTube algorithm or revenues are unkind. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and click any of the affiliate links under our videos. That helps too. It gives us a little kickback. Share with us your feedback and what you'd like to see. We'll see you in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video.